It's time for Wise Money with Korhorn Financial Group with certified financial planners Kevin Korhorn, Mike Bernard, and Josh Gregory.
Welcome to another episode of the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group, where every week we're helping you take your next wise step in your financial life. Thanks for being here, friends. My name is Mike Bernard. I am your host. I'm also one of the certified financial planners on the program. And with me in the KFG studio is my business partner and fellow CFP, Kevin Korhorn.
How is AI impacting your personal finance? In what ways is it currently, and what ways will it in the future? And what's the difference between artificial intelligence and true wisdom? We're going to hit that and much more with our special guest, Chris Johnson, on this episode of The Wise Money Show.
It's easy for me to confuse myself. I would say the opposite of artificial intelligence is probably true ignorance, but really it is authentic or true wisdom, right? And you really need wisdom. Artificial intelligence, that's more information. You really need wisdom helping you take your next wise step in your financial life. We're getting into it. If you have a question for the program, we'd love to hear from you. You can call or text us 574-222-2000. That's 574-222-2000. Online, wisemoneyshow.com is where you can find us, learn more about the show, learn more about the firm, reach out to us with questions. And then all over social media, that's where most people engage with us, especially the YouTube channel. Reach out to us there as well. AI has the potential to create significant advancement. And even if we're obviously going to talk about the stock market, but productivity gains and new jobs and just like a lot of different things are right sort of seemingly at the doorstep. And yet it also has significant disruption risk as well. And yes, in the markets and certainly in the economy. And of course, oh, by the way, there's that existential risk as well. But so the question is, how are you using AI? And how is it impacting your personal finance? So we're going to get into that. We've got a few different ways we want to explore with you. And yeah, welcome to the show. Special guest, Chris Johnson. Thanks for being here.
Oh, it's an honor to be here.
All right. So Chris is joining us at KFG this week doing some consulting, helping us. So Chris is an entrepreneur and small business owner who, a couple of years ago, 2 years ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago, shifted and really started embracing and doing some AI consulting. And so tell us a little bit about your background and then how you made that shift and really what the business looks like right now.
Sure. So I started my career as an engineer, software developer. And in 2002, I started my own agency called Terry Lieber. And we were successful. We grew that to about 100 people. And then in November of 22, ChatGPT 3.5 came out.
We were actually recording. We recorded the morning after it came out. And I remember we were sitting right here and I said, what is this thing? It just had the most app downloads, it broke records.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. And we're talking about it. And yeah, it changed the world.
Yeah, nobody knew what to do with it.
Yeah.
On day one, including me. But looking at it, I knew it was only going to get better. And I couldn't make it go away. So,
yeah.
So at that point, I'm running an advertising agency, and I'm looking at this kind of beginner of a large language model and AI. And I knew that at one point it was going to start doing things for our clients that our clients were paying us for. So I went back to my technical roots and just dug in deep, learned as much as I could, taught as much as I could, gave people access to tools. And then we started building on the APIs, doing integrations with it in our systems. And then I started talking to peers, other executives in the area, friends of mine. And it became really clear that executives had no idea. They thought that AI should do amazing things for them because that's the hype. Everyone says that. But practically, they didn't really know what it meant for their business.
We're still there. I feel like we're still there at that cross section, and maybe with the advancement with Anthropic and Claude and Cowork and all that sort of stuff this year, it feels like maybe we're starting to.
Oh no, we're still there.
You're still there.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the return on investment question.
No, I'm just saying, I know this has big potential. I really don't know how to use it.
What do I do with it?
Yeah, what do I do?
Yeah, how does this work in my business?
Yeah. And
so,
in my personal life, that's what we're going to talk about here right now. Yeah.
And so with that, coming to that realization, and also I was having a lot of fun doing it. Learning you have to learn every day in this space. I decided to start Tomorrow Today with the goal of helping companies figure out how to best get advantage from AI.
Yeah. And so that's Chris's AI consulting business, and not just consulting, right? You guys do work and provide services and all that tomorrow today.
Yeah, we do
right?
consulting. A lot of the consulting is about how do we get people to use it skillfully in their work and
Yeah.
change the way they work.
Yeah.
And then we also build agents, chatbots, integrations with systems,
Yeah.
more of the technical work as well.
Based out of Chicago, or not Chicago, Colorado, right?
Phoenix.
Phoenix. Okay. All right. I knew west. Everything feels west of. When you're in the Midwest, it's like we're way more mid than west.
Well, Chris leaves Phoenix in the summer. Go figure.
Yeah.
For Telluride, Colorado.
That's right. That's what
So
I
I don't blame him. But yeah, out of Phoenix, and we've worked with Chris for last year. It's been amazing because this is a journey, and all of us have a day job, so we're trying to do the work that we've been doing, and also not just doing but also thinking.
Yeah.
And so that this show today is going to be about how do we think.
Yeah, and I think AI obviously so huge potential and just a ton of questions, and I don't know fully if everyone knows how to answer it. In fact, for a while, for the past several years, this clients would ask me, "Hey, are we investing in AI? What's AI going to do to the stock market?" I told them the first words out of my mouth was, "Anyone that tells you exactly what's going to happen, you run away from that person because they have no idea.
Yeah.
No one knows really what next week's going to bring with AI and all of this. But certainly it's beginning to impact the real world and your personal finances. It's impacting some choices, some decisions, how maybe you get information. And if you're a fan of the Wise Money Show, you know that the big idea, not our idea, this is Certified Financial Planning and Certified Financial Planning Board. There's 6 areas to your financial life. Six different areas. Your present financial position, so cash flow, net worth. Protection planning, so how you manage life's big risks, so typically with insurance, or are you self-insured. Tax planning, that's not tax preparation, tax planning, so creative ideas, optimizing. Investment planning is the 4th area. 5th area is retirement planning, as well as college planning, so your long-term goals. And then 6th area is estate planning. And it's just easy to think about those as sort of different pieces. And you might even say, those are different pieces, but they're really close to each other, but I'll compartmentalize. Guys, the big idea. And the rest of the marketplace compartmentalizes. The big idea, no, those are interrelated. Those are connected. Those 6 areas, when you make big financial decisions, but even small financial decisions, it's going to have an impact on each of those 6 areas, or many of them. And AI is starting to impact those different areas. And so we're going to go around and talk about 5, maybe more, ways that AI is already impacting your personal finances, including financial threats and scams. Got a story about that. We're going to get Chris's opinion on it. But let's start with the obvious one, and that is the investing world in the stock market. One of the big questions we get right now is, how am I invested in AI? And so, yeah, Kevin, start wading into how AI is impacting the stock market, the investing world.
Yeah, and really to answer the overall question is this a tool that is helpful to me? Can I get traction from it? Or if I'm a business owner, can I get return on investment from it? And what does it do for me? So when you look at investing, a lot of the questions I'm getting is, well, can you assure me that my portfolio is invested in AI type investments? And that's a big question. When you look at one of the 6 areas of financial planning is investment planning. And so I think the simplest way to say it is, do I try to own the needle, or do I just own the haystack?
Yeah, I think there's 3 ways. One, if you're invested in the market, you are in AI, right? We talk about the market is nearing, or it has just come off the highest level of market concentration that we've ever had, where the top 10 companies, let's just say, are still approximately 40% of the overall index. That is incredible.
Of the S&P 500.
Of the S&P 500, the entire stock market. Now, of those top 10, how many are directly or indirectly connected to AI? 8?
Right.
Maybe 9. So if you are invested in the market, then you're invested in AI. So that's one way. That's owning the haystack. You can own the needles, and that is you can buy an AI-specific fund. I'd be careful about that. Sometimes you'd think a great product doesn't always mean great investment, so I'd be careful with that, but that's more concentrated. And then finally, you can try and buy the needle. and that is, do I buy Palantir? Do I buy Micron? Do I buy Nvidia? Do I buy, when these IPOs hit the market later this year or maybe next year, depending on the climate, would I buy one of those or SpaceX, that sort of thing, like sort of connected agentic to, just a little bit loosely connected to AI. So those are the big questions. But ultimately, if you are investing in the market, you've got the haystack, so you are in AI. The question, though, is there's some threats as well with the volatility AI will bring to the market. So we've got that more coming up here on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. What you're watching right now is our weekly 1-hour talk show that airs right here on this channel, 10 a.m. Eastern time every Saturday morning, also on podcasts at the same time, and also on a couple local radio stations at the same time as well, which is why the content's structured the way that it is. Number one, it's long form. If that's not your style, we've got other videos that take a different pace for you, 10 minutes long and shorts as well. But also, we've got commercial breaks, which is what we're at right now. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you're right aware every time we drop new content. If you like the content, leave questions and comments below as well. Appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah.
Lots to hit with the investing, and I don't know if we punched it because it's not an area that Chris is going to weigh in on, and we need to get him back involved.
No, I mean, so to me, the interesting thing about AI is when you, just like I told Chris, when I think of technology, it's like, well, technology is everything, right? Technology is my printer working. It's the software that runs my computer. It's my actual hardware computer itself. It's all this stuff. And so really, when you talk about AI, there's a tech stack, and the question is, in that stack, where is the money made, and who are the winners and losers? Because, like you would say, well, SaaS has been a loser, right? There have been incredible winners and incredible losers. The risk in that is the leveraged funds, see the South Korean stock market, the leverage that's been used in the 3X type funds to invest in this stuff. And so you want to think, am I a saver or an investor? And if I'm an investor, am I an investor or a trader? And I would say, if you said trader, I would also say gambler. And you can say, hey, and then I would just go to, well, what do you want to think about? If you want to think about this all day long, if you want to make sure you're checking your phone 72 times a day to see what your 3X fund is doing, knock yourself out. That is a miserable existence for my money. Mm-hmm. But
do you ever talk about just AI adjacent stocks like energy?
That was the word I was looking for. Adjacent. Yeah, I would say SpaceX is AI.
SpaceX
adjacent.
is full AI.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I mean, it is XAI, but also space is really about AI.
But adjacent would be semiconductors.
Yeah, chips.
Right? Chips, which has gone through the roof and then through the floor, and then I think it's somewhere in between right now. I think it's on the second floor. Yeah.
Mining.
Yeah. That's a space where you can make a few comments here on the investment side before. Should I get into the scam stuff second so we can get Chris back involved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We need as much Chris as possible. We did not have as enough Chris in that segment.
All right. Here we go. AI and the potential of AI gives significant productivity gains. I think we're starting to see that, and that's going to lift the market. And yet it has some huge disruptive shocks. How do you invest? How do you invest for both? We're helping with that right now. This is Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and special guest AI consultant Chris Johnson. Stay on top of all Wise Money content. You can find us online, wisemoneyshow.com, and then all over social media, wherever you're at, we are there as well. Search the Wise Money Show. Talking about AI and how it's already impacting your financial life. Going to share a few different ways. One is obviously in investing, and I want to be really careful about what I just said. And I think this is the main theme when it comes to investing. Kevin said over the break, if you are a saver, boy, long-term treasury bonds are at 5.3%. Maybe get yourself some of those, work with your CFP. If you are an investor, then you're probably going to own the basket, not the needle. The needle's just going to be in it. You're going to own the market. You're going to advance with AI. And by the way, there's going to be a lot of AI adjacent stuff. We'll get into that here in just a second. That's likely to emerge as well. If you're a trader, though, day trader, gambler, then you're probably looking for the needles, and you're probably going to pick up one needle, drop it by noon, pick up another needle, and then pick the other one back up and drop it. So, and that's totally different philosophy. At the same time, AI in the markets, AI has the potential to create significant productivity. If you look back and say, well, what caused the stock market to advance so significantly from 1980 to 99 or 2000? Most of it was, I'm going to say, there's a lot of confluence of factors, but a lot of it productivity gains from the computers and internet. AI has the same potential, if not even greater, right? Productivity, very, very good for individual companies, very, very good for the stock market. We're coming off of maybe the biggest profitable quarter we've ever had in the stock market. Coincidence with AI? Maybe, maybe not. But with that productivity, you've got to own the market so that you can see that opportunity, that advancement. At the same time, AI, disruptive, could wipe out a company, could wipe out an industry, could wipe out huge segments of the market. And therefore, it has the potential for big growth, but also some extreme volatile shocks. You've got to have a plan for both. You have to have a plan for both. And I personally don't think diversification cuts it anymore. You need to be working with your CFP. How can you take advantage of the upsides that AI will most likely, I'm almost inevitably bring, because it already has, but also be prepared for the shocks. That's your strategy. You got to work with your CFP on that. So, okay, AI adjacent, right? So we talked about the haystack, the needles, and so on. What are some other areas or industries that are going to be impacted by the evolution and move of AI?
Yeah, I think if you want to look at it positively, what do we think is going to grow? I would be looking at adjacent stocks in energy.
Yeah,
because data centers need a lot of energy, and they're building data centers all around the world and a ton in the U.S.
Did you see the one? Right, we've got one in our backyard.
I haven't seen it. No.
I drove by yesterday, and it is crazy what they've been doing. Microsoft has one just maybe a couple miles away. And they just laid some stone on it as well. Yeah. I mean, this thing is massive.
Yeah, they're all over the country. Something's got to power them, right?
Yeah.
So, and they require massive amounts of energy.
Yeah.
You could look at silicon chips, right? But I think a lot of people have been investing in that in the last couple of years. If you look at like an NVIDIA or TSMC.
Or even just the semiconductor index that it's incredible.
I know memory's been on a wild ride, but all these data centers need memory, and there's been a shortage. But I would look as far as mining, right? Like what are the exact minerals that you need to make these chips, right?
Yeah.
These are all downstream, and I like looking at those because you can bet on an AI company, but you're betting on somebody who's making a bet.
Yeah.
Right. They're. I think Meta is investing $140 billion this year.
Yeah.
In data centers, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't.
Yeah,
but chips will work.
Yeah.
Right? Data centers are going to work. They all need energy.
And that's the wild thing, because if you're a market geek, and then we're going to get off the market stuff and get to some other ways AI is impacting your financial life. But yeah, arguably, and I think maybe the most profitable quarter of the S&P 500 ever. And yet these enormous companies have negative free cash flow. I think only one, Apple is positive free cash flow, and then Meta was barely positive. But most of them negative. Google, first time ever, it was negative free cash flow. Why? They're taking all of their cash and they're investing it. And they're putting it into AI infrastructure. And so they call that, if you want to impress your friends tonight when you're hanging out with them, they call that CapEx. So you can say, oh, can you believe all that CapEx spending from these big tech companies? And they'll just look at you and be just, amazed at your wisdom.
It's saying CapEx spending is almost like saying ATM machine.
Well, okay.
Because capital expenditure spending.
Yeah.
But this is interesting because instead of doing share buybacks, they're actually creating, they're offering debt, they're selling more shares, they're doing all kinds of stuff. And these companies have never been capital intensive. So this is an interesting new world. We talked about what are the limiting factors as it relates to AI, and one of the things was energy.
Yeah.
So Elon Musk in Memphis said, "Hey, I need energy to run this plant," and they said, "Okay, you can have it you can have your permit answer in a year or a year and a half. And he said, no, it's going to be running in 6 months.
Okay, so what's happening right now? So they're laying the fiber and the cable lines back in like the late 90s, right? That's what they're doing right now. And what happened to AT&T and these companies? They ended up it became a commodity. And there is a discussion right now about whether the Anthropic and AI will just eventually be a utility, a commodity, as opposed to a fantastic investment. There's some interesting debates on that. Thoughts on that, Chris? Whether this all converges and, hey, this is just, it's like a microwave. You just are going to need it for your life. And so therefore it'll just be
I don't
at a
think
really
that's
low
the game
cost.
they're playing.
Yeah?
The game they're playing is a race to super intelligence.
Right.
So
you're going to go right to the scary part. Okay. The existential risk.
I don't like to talk about the existential risk, but that's what they're all doing.
Yeah.
They're all making massive investments and massive bets, hoping that they can get there first.
Okay, so that scary part leads right into the second way AI is impacting. No, don't give me the finger.
Yeah. No, there's one more thing.
What?
So what is the risk with number one? It really is FOMO, in my humble opinion. Like, I listen to someone talk about something, and I think, man, that's an amazing idea. Oh, I should have been doing that. Oh, I missed out on that.
Oh, now I know what CapEx means.
Right. And so this is where I would say no. Slow and steady wins the race. And so no jerky movements here. And measure twice and cut once, and make sure you're working with a financial planner. Make sure they're certified, and say, hey, these are my concerns. Because I would say, don't be concerned about AI. Don't be concerned that it's going to replace everyone's job. What I've seen is it's going to make us bionic. So I just did an 8-hour task in 20 minutes. Well, guess what? I didn't take 7 hours and 40 minutes off. I just kept going. So it made me more productive.
Yeah.
And I think it will continue to do so. So I would say just relax. If you're a little bit nervous, or this is causing you to be disturbed, reach out to your financial planner and say, hey, can we talk? Can we review my portfolio and make sure I've got an appropriate balance here? Because most of the folks we are working with don't need to win a huge bet for their financial life to work. They need to get their 8% per year compound annual growth rate to outpace taxes and inflation.
AI is a potential financial threat as well. Scams. I heard one this week where I was talking to an individual who said that he said, young individual, he knows, like he was aware, he was careful and got scammed out of $300,000 from AI, like the sophistication. So I don't know, like, Chris, can you weigh in on that risk and maybe some of the potential threat, maybe some of what to look out for?
Yeah, I mean, it happened to me. I didn't actually lose any money, but a year ago, I got a call from my banker on a Monday. He said, hey, Chris, sorry, I saw you called on Saturday, sorry I didn't call you back. And I said, what are you talking about? I didn't call you. And why didn't you call me back on Saturday? But so he said, no, it was definitely you. It was your voice. I said, did it come from this phone number? He said, no, that's a good point. It didn't. I said, all right, well, from now on, if it doesn't come from this number, it's not me. The level of sophistication and technology that scammers can use now is incredible.
Yeah.
I can take 15 seconds of your voice and make you say whatever I want.
So, Chris, we've got 2,500 videos out there in the YouTube library. There's more than 15 seconds of my voice. We're going to pick that back up because I think this is a real risk. It's a risk. It's a concern that I have. I'm sure you have as well. We're going to pick that back up. That and more coming up here on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. So I thought you were going to say that your banker, it was someone pretending to be your banker. No. It was someone pretending to be you.
With my voice, because I'm on the internet too.
Yeah.
Right. No, I know you. That's how we found you, an interview with Justin Most. And so I'm saying our voices are now can be weaponized.
And I didn't mean to put you on the spot there as far as like things to look out for. If you've got a couple of things and then things that you can do about it. Like this guy I joked with, because I said, do you have a code word? And he was like, I have one with the family. I'm like, well, we need to have one. I was joking. But like, so if you can think about a couple of like specific threats so people can be on the lookout for them and then what they could maybe do about it, that might be helpful. Okay, here we go. Third segment. Financial scams are real, and we've talked about them multiple times here on the Wise Money Show. Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channel so you're staying on top of those. We try to keep you abreast of the latest and worst, right, as opposed to latest and greatest, so that you're prepared, diligent, and can avoid these. But AI, it's bringing an even greater threat. We're going to talk about some of those risks and what you can do about it. That's what we're helping with right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and special guest AI consultant Chris Johnson. Every episode of the Wise Money Show is on podcast. Wherever you listen, just search the Wise Money Show. Subscribe to it there. Rate the program there as well. We appreciate it. Yeah, so Chris, we left off with a story where you were saying that your banker received a call from your voice and it was not you.
Correct.
Yeah, and thankfully it was on a Saturday.
Right.
If you're smart enough to take your voice, why would you call the banker on this Saturday? Like, yeah, I would call them on Monday morning, but I'm not giving anyone any ideas.
Probably to sound like an emergency, right?
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
And kind of take him off his game.
Well, so that would be one thing to be on the lookout for. If someone reaches out to you, either email, text, or phone call, right? And but they make it sound urgent. I need this, whatever. That is something
That's
to be
a good
on.
sign,
Yeah.
right? This is not normal, right? Your spidey sense has to go off.
Mm-hmm. What are some other, and maybe specific AI? I mean, I think maybe the specific AI way is one more sophisticated, but using your voice as opposed to just a malicious email or text message.
Yeah, that's pretty sophisticated. But if you're going after a bank account, there's a big reward for the scammer in that. I would say for most people, the number one, I would call it an attack vector, which sounds impressive. Yeah. But the way that they're getting to people is email, because it's very cheap. And I'd say a couple of years ago, you would look at a scam email and there'd be a misspelling in it and the grammar wasn't quite right. That's not the case anymore. AI can create really, really convincing emails that look exactly like they're from somebody. One thing I always do is you just click, it might say someone's name, click on it and actually look at the email address. Is it really their email address? Because it's harder to send email. You have to hack someone's system if you want to send email as that person. Is a way to be able to tell. Another is like who would really be calling me, right? Would the IRS call me? Mm-hmm. The answer is no.
Right.
They don't even answer the phone if you call them. So, right. And so, no, in these areas of
and
your
by the
life.
way, can I just mention, right, IRS scams? These are big ones, and I've done a lot of content on it here on the Wise Money Show. IRS is not going to email you. They're also not going to text you. That's not their first mode of communication. Think about your tax return. Where on your tax return is your email? It's not on it, right? Where on your tax return is your phone number? It's not on it, right? The first way that they are going to make contact with you in almost every situation is by letter. It's by mail, snail mail, like old school. And so, yeah, they're not going to call you. They're not going to text you. They're not going to send you an email. Be very, very careful with IRS scams. Yeah.
I'd say probably next is people that call you and leave voicemails.
Yeah.
I guess my guidance on that front would be if it sounds too good to be true. It probably is and usually is, right?
Okay, so we're creating 3 different categories here. One, the IRS we just talked about. One, the urgent financial need. You got to have your spidey sense on there. I saw that new movie. It's actually pretty good. But I'm a geek. And then the too good to be true scams. Yeah.
Well, right. And I do think, so if you said what kind of protections can I have? If there's a sense of urgency, slow it down.
Well, I would say I would call that person back on their phone number.
For
right.
sure.
So if you get an email sense of urgency, you get a text message sense of urgency, I'd call them back on their phone number. Now, it's very possible we sent a communication to all of our clients at the beginning of this year because one of the surprising threats is people's cell phone carriers are getting hacked, and then they put an intercept on your cell phone number. Mm-hmm. So you've got to be you've got to have multi-factor authentication, and you've got to be changing your password and that sort of stuff on your cell phone provider, that login information, so that people don't have an auto forwarding to a different number. But I'd call them back on that phone number.
That's a good one.
So if your brokerage account sends you a text message saying this just happened, call, or press this number or whatever, or they call you and say, you need to call them back. Or your credit card company, you need to flip your card over, look at the phone number on the back of your card and call them back, as opposed to just responding to whoever is calling you.
Yeah, I never just hit redial on the who called me.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I'll go to their website, I'll look up a number, I'll look on the back of the card every time.
Yeah.
If I have to go, 4 more, not clicks, but tap touches on your phone to get to the person I have to get to, it's worth it to me because I know I'm actually talking to the right person.
Okay.
And that is a source of frustration for our clients because for the most part, we're in very high trust relationships. So if they email us and say, hey, we need $10,000, help us figure out which account to take it from, but we got to get the cruise paid for. The call back to them to confirm, Chris, this is really you and you really want the 10 grand, that can be a source of irritation. And we try to, tell folks, hey, we know you'd rather us make the decision and get the deal done. But if we don't call you to confirm it, there's a risk to us and to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's old school 2-factor authentication, right?
Yeah,
Right.
there you go.
Yeah.
The oldest school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one, don't just think of yourself. And it's, tricky. So I'm in my mid-40s. So I get to think about myself, but I get to worry about my parents and I get to worry about my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so especially with financial scams and how they're getting more sophisticated with AI, my kids are... Yeah, I mean, my daughter's old enough where she's getting spam and she's got access to financial accounts and all that sort of stuff. And she's got to know what to look out for, especially within emails. And then my folks are, I think my mom has ChatGPT. I think she's using it a little bit, and almost 80. But yeah, I mean, if someone called or someone sent an email and impersonated, my brother or something like that, I don't know. So I've told my parents, you don't do anything. If something is urgent, scary, you're unsure, you call me. Just that's it. And you don't even need to think about it. Mm-hmm. Don't worry, just call me. And so I would have it planned. I'd have a game plan. We were joking earlier, this individual who told me about his friend who's young and knows better and blah, 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 got scammed for $300,000. I said, so we should have a code word so I know it's really you. And he was like, well, I already have one with my family. There's a code word. And so maybe that's a real thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think with the older generation, it's a real problem.
Yeah.
My in-laws get hacked a couple times a year, and it's their fault.
Oh, really?
100%.
Do you tell them that?
Yeah, we started creating rules. Never do this.
Right.
Never click on a link in an email from somebody you don't know.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of carnage.
Sad. It's sad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sad. All right. So definitely AI impacting the stock market and investing, and it already is impacting scamming. Kevin, it's impacting insurance. Protection planning is the second area of your financial life. And I would say in some amazing ways, and yet you have responsibility here. And I'll give you one amazing way. I needed new life insurance a year ago. And I filled out all my information. Hey, I think it was $1 million term policy. And guys, it took me 7 minutes to fill out the application. And it took me 30 seconds to be approved for the policy. My first life insurance policy, I'll share this. We went and got underwriting. My wife, who's in the medical industry, passed out from they were taking blood, and she looked down and she was sitting up, and it was a long story. She's not queasy like that, but she passed out. It took us 3 months to get life insurance that time. It took 30 seconds this time. AI doing the underwriting, looking at large amounts of data, doing that analysis, and making better and faster decisions. That's how you win. You have a responsibility, and that should help bring prices down as well. But you have a responsibility. Are you a good risk? And you can't defer that over to AI. That is personal choice. That's the decisions you make. Are you a good financial risk? So you can harness the benefits that AI is currently bringing and will continue to bring to the insurance space, analyzing large numbers, the deflationary and that, like those decision making, that should be a significant help, and the time savings. But listen, if you drive faster than you should, and that's a habit. I don't know why I looked at you, Chris, but I
Because
did.
It's accurate.
There's that Spidey sense. Or if you don't take care of yourself, right? And these are, I'm not trying to be naggy, but yeah, I mean, you want to be a good financial risk, and then you can leverage the benefits that AI is bringing to the insurance space. All right, we've got more ways AI is impacting your financial life. That and more coming up here on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Ran a little long in that one.
Am I hearing something? People or not?
No, we kicked him out.
Okay.
It would be me right now.
Okay. So I think, yeah.
And we're way over.
Oops.
Actually, they might be in there.
No, we
told
moved
them?
them to the conference room, but we are way
Okay.
over.
Can
Yeah,
I?
good.
Is there a way to get a hold of the front desk so that they know I'm not going to be there for another
Yeah.
25 minutes?
Lindsay will do that right now.
No,
Thank you.
we got 10 minutes and we're going to go.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Let's roll.
So are you communicating or you want me to?
I will. Okay, Lindsay, do it.
Okay. All right. Fourth segment, land in the plane. Do you have anything meaningful to say on the...
No, on protection planning, I mean, the idea is data calculations and optimization, but you basically hit it.
Okay.
I mean, Tesla with their self-driving car is going to know how to insure your vehicle because
We're going to hit that.
okay.
Okay. All right, here we go. Fourth segment. Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn, special guest AI consultant Chris Johnson. Chris, his business, Tomorrow Today. For business owners that are listening right now, how would they reach out to you for your services or just ask you some questions?
Go to tomorrowtoday.com, learn more about us,
Yeah, great.
and reach out.
All right, there we go. And then, yes, every episode of the Wise Money Show is on the YouTube channel. Make sure you go to YouTube, search the Wise Money Show, subscribe to it there, turn on notifications so you're made aware. Curious your thoughts on if you've got a financial scam, an AI scam, AI story. I want to hear it in the comments as well, and other ways that AI is impacting your financial life. I'm going to tell you about budgeting and some of the ways that I'm using AI for my budgeting, personal finance. But Kevin, you were just talking about, we left off on how AI is already improving and impacting the protection planning space and with insurance, but it's going to get even more so. My kids tell me, they look at Life 360 and they say, Dad, you were driving way too fast. And I say, stop stalking me. You guys are creeping me out. Or you blew through that stop sign, whatever. So we actually have a little, they score your driving on the Life 360 app. Listen, best driver in the household. You're looking at him right here. My daughter and wife, sorry guys, I beat you. So, but
Yeah. Well, I think when you look at protection planning, one of the things, when you think of protection planning, think risk management. What risks do I live with, and what risks can I write a check and transfer that risk to the insurance company? So there's a risk that if I die, my spouse needs $1 million. Well, I can live with that, and I die today, and she's $1 million short. Or I can write a check for a couple $100 to a life insurance company, and now they're on the hook for that because they know what is the probability of me dying? And if they can just say, hey, for 1,000 Kevins this year, 0.1 of them are going to die, or 3 of them out of 1,000 are going to die. They know exactly how to price their products. Life insurance has been around for hundreds of years, and they've gotten really good at it. But what's getting even better is the data. So when you look at, for instance, a Tesla, but
even any of these cars, they've got the most advanced computer systems. It's unbelievable, the technology that's in vehicles these days, and they're tracking your driving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't wonder. But this is what lets them have incredible data. In that data, they can optimize that data to say what are the true risks, and then what's the cost of transferring that risk. And so that is really what it's all about.
And what's the privacy? I know many of you are thinking what I'm thinking as well and think this is just intrusive and frustrating. But going back to Chris's story where he got into AI, I can't get rid of it, right? It's
Right.
AI, so
We're not going to avoid it.
we can't avoid it. So I understand those feelings and all that. Okay, so let's go last way before we talk about kind of the big picture with AI in your personal finances. But the last way I'm using it right now within AI, I am not giving AI access to my bank accounts, to any accounts with account numbers and all of that to do transactions or anything. So I don't know. And so to each their own, I would not, and I am not. What I am doing is I am having AI help me with and analyze and categorize my budget, not just giving it full access to my bank account, but uploading without, account numbers and that sort of stuff and say, hey, categorize this. And one strategy we talk about all the time is shoeboxing your HSA. And so you have to track your out-of-pocket expenses for your health insurance, and then you track those, and then you can use those to make a qualified withdrawal from your health savings account out there in the future. But the point is you have to have all those receipts. You have to be tracking all those expenses. Guys, for years, I've just thrown those receipts in a shoebox. It's been an electronic shoebox. And Chris knows this because I talked to him about it way on. You might have forgotten. But one of the first things that I did with AI this year, without any personal data, I said, all right, AI, categorize all this. And it did 4 years in about 4 minutes on a spreadsheet. Each year has its own tab, and then it's got a tab that summarizes everything. And then I scheduled that, and it runs it every single Sunday. Every Sunday, it's just continually updating that. So fantastic. And I don't have my personal information out there because I don't trust it. But at the same time, I'm getting the leverage out of it, the utility from it. So, yeah. So that's personal finance, present financial position. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
all right. So, but the bigger question here with AI, what did we hit? 5 different ways that AI is touching your personal finances. But I would want to end where we started. And where we started was, well, what's the opposite of AI? But what do you need? So wisdom is needed to make great financial decisions. Before we started recording, we were having a little discussion. Hey, Chris, how do you define wisdom? And you said
Making bad decisions.
Because you learn from it.
You learn from it.
Right?
Yeah.
And Kevin and I laughed, and I actually don't want to learn from my own mistakes.
That's the best way.
The best way, and that's not mean I'm stubborn. I 100% am. I'd rather learn from other people's mistakes. And that's why a lot of the times our content is, hey, avoid this mistake, avoid this mistake. I want to learn from other people's mistakes. But ultimately then, so I think Chris's definition still is found within ours, and that is financial wisdom is making a great decision. Not a good decision, making a great decision. So the right decision at the right time, knowing what to do. Does information help you with that? It certainly can. It can give you great information, great awareness. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you need context of knowing, you need the financial wisdom, context of knowing what to do when you have a choice. For example, pre-tax versus Roth and 401k contribution. You could go ask AI that right now, and it will give you an answer. But does that answer know your tax situation today? Does it also know your projected tax picture out there in retirement? Does it know what your spouse's contributions are to their 401k? Does it know about the potential inheritance that you could be getting or may not be getting? Does it know about your lifestyle and how much you plan to spend out there in retirement to know what your projected tax picture is out there in retirement? It can give you fantastic information about here's how pre-tax works, here's how Roth works. You still need the wisdom. And the wisdom it comes from the context, the awareness of all of those different variables, and then helping you make the right decision, a great decision at the right time.
Yeah, I think we talked about the tech value stack and where is the value going to be and what are people willing to trade value to receive value. And I think of the same thing in the financial planning value stack. And if you look and you say, where's the value and what am I getting? And we had a prospective client come in last week and they had an amazing stack of papers. It was an investment report that their investment person printed out, and we were talking about it. And at the end, this person said, "This doesn't really help me." And I said, well, it's impressive. I mean, it's impressive to look at, but what does really help you? And when I think about,
I'm thinking back to, so have you asked AI a question and then it's just giving you all this, and I'm like, I'm not reading that. and I actually feel guilty. I'm like, well, gosh, this is how I'm lazy.
Yeah, so
but not helpful.
Right,
I don't read it because like, oh, that's
so
that's
where
too
in the
much.
value stack do we lie as financial planners? And I would say providing that financial wisdom, dealing with the art side of the equation, the internal finance. How do I feel about money? How do I deal with this complexity? How do I make sure when I die, the money if it can go to the federal government, if it can go to a charity or to family, how do I make that decision? Most people don't vote for the first one. So how do you help them arrange and optimize their financial life so that it doesn't?
Yeah. One of our favorite authors and thinkers and speakers, he's a college professor, is Arthur Brooks. I would strongly suggest his work and following him on social media. And he's just talking about the challenge with humanity right now. I would just say just the human existence and specifically kind of right brain, left brain, and where technology sits. And it should have, and I can't remember if it's right brain or not, but technology and AI should help you with your intelligence, computations, and information. And yet,
that's the left brain.
That's left brain. People are ignoring then the right brain.
That's the creative.
And the creative side and the connection side and all of that. And so he said the right, not artificial, but the right formula is to use things, love people, worship the divine. And I completely agree, versus right now where a lot of people are using AI for counterfeit relationships and other challenges. Use it for information and so on, but don't abuse it. Don't use it for the wrong thing. So Chris, thanks for being here. We appreciate your wisdom.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much. That's all the time we have for today. On behalf of Kevin Korhorn, all of us at KFG, have a great weekend. We'll see you next Saturday for the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group.
Securities offered through Silver Oak Securities, member FINRA/SIPC. Advisory services offered through KFG Wealth Management, LLC. Doing business as Korhorn Financial Group. KFG Wealth Management, LLC and Silver Oak Securities Incorporated companies are unaffiliated.